Ka'alau Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakadash. All praise, honor, and glory go to the Most High Yahweh. In the name of the Son Yahawashi. And I'm coming to you outside right now. It's a nice day out here at the park. It's letting the wind blow, a little bit hot. But I want to come out here and do this lesson. Normally don't do sit downs like this, but I'm starting to do them more and more. But this lesson right here is on the book of Isaiah, chapter 11. And I'm going to start in verse 10. I'm going to read from the CEV version of the Bible. I might jump also to the NLT and the KJV and other versions as I pull out some precepts. But, this scripture right here is to help us stay kingdom-minded, because if we don't keep our minds on the kingdom, we'll fall for the ways of this world. We're already in this flesh. We already got to deal with the thoughts, the past things that we've done to try to corrupt us, defile us. We always got to deal with the people of this world who have no knowledge of the Most High Yahweh, His name, His lineage, His fame. Everyone's all about the things of this world, such as the alphabet community, the rituals that they're doing, sexual desires. And me being a man, I can relate to the natural ones, the lust for a woman. Yet the things that are going on in this world right now are beyond just natural lust. They're starting to turn into more brutish, beast-like behavior. People are being exposed. The so-called white man is being exposed in these last moments, these last days. And we're getting to a point where, unless you keep your mind on the kingdom, and that promise that you're going to receive, being an Israelite that is awakened and know that they're an Israelite, so-called African Americans, Native Americans, and Latinos, and also you speckled-bird Israelites that look like the other nations, could look like a so-called white man, could look like a so-called Chinese man, Moab, look like an Ammonite, so-called Japanese, Korean, look like a so-called Cambodian, African, Hamite, Arab man, but your spirit resonates to these scriptures, and you understand them, and you're seeking salvation. You want to be delivered from what you see about to happen, because we know this place is going to get destroyed. But once it gets destroyed, what happens then? What happens into the rest of the world? Because the whole world is not going to get destroyed. It's just Babylon and that nation in that land over there in Israel. Our land is going to be built back up by the slaves of the nation of Yasharallah once Yahawashi returns with his myriad of angels. And this particular chapter kind of details, if you go to the beginning of the chapter, it's going to tell you about a branch of David that's going to be our deliverer, meaning Yahawashi. But it goes into depth about the different nations. When you get down to verse 10, I'm going to read this in the CV first. It says, in Isaiah 11 and 10, the time is coming when one of Dawad's descendants will be the signal for the people of all nations to come together. And we know when it says all nations, we mean the nation of Israel, because like I said, we're scattered. We're going to look like other nations. Majority of the Israelites are going to be in Babylon, America, because that's where we were sent to. That's where the prophecies are dealing with. But there's going to be Israelites all across the world. And it says, they will follow his advice, and his own nation will become famous. So there's the fame of the Most High Yahweh right there. That's the fame that we're looking to bring out, to continue to glorify his holy name, continue to praise his name, to where all the whole world will realize who's the power of all these things that you see, you touch, you speak, you smell, you feel. He's the one that's created it all through his son Yahawashi. Verse 11 says, when that day comes, Yahweh will again reach out his mighty arm and bring home his people who have survived in Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Ethiopia, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the land along the coast. So he's mentioning all these different areas that have held his people in captivity or subjection. Syria, Babylonians, Egypt, we know about that. Moses, Pathros, I believe is another area. And let's look it up. I don't want to butcher it. The land of Pathros. Upper Egypt, like I said, it's Upper Egypt. It says Ethiopia, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the land along the coast. So these are different areas where we've been in subjection. And you know, only the Lord was able to bring us out of all those subjections or captivities. And once again, He's going to deliver us from this captivity. Now, the deliverance, as the men of the Lord always bring out and been prophesying for the last 40 years or so, is only for the elect of Yasharala Israel. The elect meaning those that have been chosen since the beginning of time to receive this glory, to receive of the privilege of praising the Most High Yahweh and His Son Yahawashi's name, their true names, bringing out these scriptures, helping out others that may not know, waking up the hopeful elect, and also passing judgment on the rest of this world for what they've done to the Israelites. Because even though it was all ordained by the Most High Yahweh, we know that in His movie there has to be a victor and there has to be a villain. And the villain starts with the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, and all the other heathen nations. Now, here's a caveat that a lot of people don't understand. Every Edomite doesn't look like the so-called white man. You know, you have to be, every person on this earth is drawn from the lineage of their father. So, you know, you'll have some Edomites look like Hamites, look like Israelites. You'll have some Israelites look like Hamites, look like Edomites. So how do we know who Israel is? It's through the Spirit. It's through the Rakah Kadash. And that's the only way we'll be able to determine who are His. Because we have a many of so-called black men walking around these days. But most of our people, just talking about the men right now, you know, they want to walk around with their pants sagging, or they want to wear these suits, cut off their head bald, get the lineups, don't wear beards, all the things that are against the scriptures for His men. They want to be women, they want to be effeminate. These are the things that we have to face in these last moments. And it's because of the captivities, all these different cultures and all these different customs that we built up from all these heathen nations. Verse 12 says, He will give a signal to the nations, and He will bring together the refugees from Judah